Hello, you beautiful individuals. Today we are doing another reaction, but to something a little different. This is Owen Benjamin shreds the moon landing, or Owen Benjamin on the moon landing and how scientism works. As far as I know, he doesn't have like a YouTube channel anymore. So I don't know much about Owen Benjamin. I used to be, I wouldn't say a fan, but I've watched some of his stand up back in the day. It's probably been like 10 years or so now. But I enjoyed him, thought he was funny and all, and then I just kind of forgot about him as a human, like a lot of actors and comedians. Didn't think much of it until I was pointed out to one of his videos. It was probably like a good year or two ago. I don't know. It was a while ago, and it was actually on YouTube. But now I can't seem to find him on YouTube. So I just looked it up, and I found this. But apparently, according to this description, I don't know if this is him or somebody associated with him. I have no idea. But apparently, you can find his stuff on unauthorized.tv. Never been there, so I don't know. But yeah, apparently he's been banned pretty much everywhere, which is interesting because I, I don't know why. I haven't looked that up, or I don't honestly care. If you do, feel free to let me know. But if it's just for the moon landing stuff, I don't really get that because like he's clearly not the first person to say that. I'm assuming there's more to it. I don't know. I just thought it'd be interesting and be something different. Got tired of looking at Ken Hoven's face, so plus I need a palate cleanser with that whole debate coming up. So yeah, let's jump into it.
At this point, if you think we land on the moon, your mind is retarded.
Well, that's a strong start, isn't it? Wow. All right. No, you're not. Look, I understand there's a fair amount of people that believe we didn't go to the moon, and quite frankly, I get it to an extent. I understand the skepticism, but at the end of the day, we did go to the moon multiple times. We just did. Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't wear a mask because you have a mental deficiency. If you think we landed on the moon, don't get me wrong, I'm going to the moon. Guys, I'm going to the moon.
Cool. Is he serious? I mean, it takes a proper amount of money, and I don't deny or I believe that he probably has some money. You would think, depending on what he did with it and all that stuff. But yeah, I don't think you have billions or even more, my man. That's whatever. Let's keep on watching. I mean, seriously, it was like what was it? It was like $6 billion for the original moon landing in '69, which is like however many billions today. Give me a second. Okay, so it was actually about 20 some billion, apparently. I think they were tallying up all of them because it said from '60s to '73, which is equivalent to like 250 some billion today. So, now mind you, that is probably for multiples, but still, I don't think you're gonna swing that, Owen.
But if you trust NASA's official story that in 1969 we had technology that we no longer possess, and that technology and all the proof they want was destroyed.
Okay, hold on. Man, I did not. I've been working so hard on trying to not stop videos as often, but they say such stupid things. Listen, it's not that we don't possess the technology. We do. We possess greater technology than we did in the late '60s, early '70s. But it wasn't lost and destroyed. Yes, there were originals of certain tapes and other data that were taped over because of budget restraints in the '70s and '80s that NASA was going through. But it still wasn't destroyed. There's copies of everything. It's not like they just said, screw all that, we're gone, don't need it anymore. And you have to understand too, the budget for NASA, with adjustment for inflation, of course, was so much greater back then. Like, it's fractions of what it was, and it's not that they don't possess it; they just can't afford it. It's just cost too much.
But fortunately, we have video footage that you can break apart and show that none of it's possible. And they landed on what appears to be Jordan Peterson's meth-induced tree fort. Okay, if all that makes sense to you, you have a mental handicap. You should be able to park in a handicapped spot. People should hold the door for you. You should wear a helmet because you might just pass out sometimes.
Okay, so I'm not gonna like obviously I'm not gonna get angry about his style. He's a comedian. I get it. It's actually somewhat of what that description said. So I get that, and it's fine. You know, jokes are great, but at the end of the day, you're still an idiot. I mean, if this was your argument for if people didn't believe the moon landing was real, then okay, I'm behind you. But man, you are something.
No, I'm going to the moon, guys. I'm dead serious. America will be great again. It will. I don't understand why people think that they can't fake something that great again. Look,
I do wish not what he said, but kind of. I do wish that maybe not America in general, but like presidents, politicians, they would go back to that goal setting, you know, that big ambitious project that brings everyone together. I don't know. It was I just miss that.
look at what America tries to fake these days. It's pathetic. Oh, look, it's a virus. Wear a tampon in your nose. Back in the day, when America was great, we faked a moon landing.
No, we went and landed on the moon, and listen, I'm not going to give my opinions on this virus one way or another. What I will say is, I do believe that it was a bit overblown with hindsight. At the time, without knowing, it was understandable. But in hindsight, yes, people probably did overreact a bit, more than a bit. But at the time, I would not call it overreacting because they didn't know. Like you don't know. Uh, whatever.
Do you understand the grit, the determination it takes to convince the world that you went to the fucking moon? I have that grit. I have that determination. I will walk on that moon fakely. I'm
Fakely.
I don't. I assume people understand what I'm doing with this, but people don't. So I have to tell people, like, here's a wink. Hey, welcome to Tea Time with Gary and Terry. Why is Owen's face getting all weird? Where's the tea? Ugh. Base BB. We're going back. And I will play golf on that lonely rock in the sky. Do you understand how... And this is the thing. People treat me like I'm stupid because I'm so smart.
Okay. Now, maybe he's going to say something that is obviously making that a joke, but listen, if anyone claims to be smart like that, usually they're not. Not always. That's definitely, you know, some people are really smart and know it and aren't afraid to say that. But most intelligent people recognize that in reality they might be smart in a certain subject or even area of study, but overall, there's still a lot we don't know. It's this confidence that immediately shows me you're an idiot. And more importantly, the fact that you have nothing. Like, you're not giving any, I wouldn't even say evidence, just anything. You're just saying it's fake because I don't think it could have happened. And this guy, he's getting to me now.
I'm going to clip that and put it in my fun documentary making fun of Owen Benjamin. The equation of lumens and light and how bright something is very, very obvious. You can, so with half the if you double the distance away, it does a fracture. It square roots the lumens. So if they say what the moon is, like how bright the moon is at 240,000 miles away, it would be like trillions of lumens. Like it would literally fry your eyes. Like you wouldn't, it would be so.
Okay, that's, no. For one, you have to take into account that it's reflecting, but even so, no. Like it's It's not how it works. It's not the same. Listen, if you were talking about taking that light and focusing it down to something the size of a flashlight, whatever, sure. But this light is spread out over a massive surface. Yes, the moon's not that big, but it is still pretty dang big compared to a human's body and obviously eyeball. So no, just no. And just saying, do the tiniest bit of research before. Like that lumen, you could have looked that up. You could have paused your recording, look it up, and said it so you didn't sound like such an idiot.
So bright that your entire nervous system would break down. Okay, so all this science is real.
See, there was an edit there. I seen it. He can't edit, so he could have definitely done that.
Science. Science is real. There is physics. There's laws of physics. So if you have a light bulb, if you have the distance, it goes up. It goes up exponentially in brightness, and you measure it in something called a lumen. So if you go away, if you double the distance away from a light bulb, its brightness is a square root. So you guys get it. So 16 lumens would be 4 lumens, right? And that just keeps going, square root of 4. So the farther away from an object, that's why if you have a light bulb and you're right here, it's extremely bright, pretty bright. You guys get it. If something's 240,000 miles away and it has that many lumens that you can measure, if you stood on that, it would be like 1 trillion lumens.
No.
And it would.
No. It's not the same thing.
Fry your brain. Like every single equation that you do shows you that the baby boomers may be the stupidest people that have ever lived. I'm not judging. The boomer
Not judging. Wait, hold on.
does not exist. Don't look at the boomer. The boomer never existed. The boomer is not here. The boomer is in my mind.
Man, whatever he's on, I want some. But anyway, give me just 1 second. Okay, I wanted to answer a question for myself. He's 42. Not saying he's old, but the baby boomer generation, like he's not far off of being a baby boomer. So it's you're a little ridiculous there. He's not one, but still. Anyway.
All right. If anyone can get to the moon, it's UBB. I'm going to the moon, and I'm gonna wear special shades.
Is he live streaming? Is that what this is? That would make more sense on the style. If he's live streaming, then I take back my earlier comment about him explaining lumens and whatnot, because it's a little different than if you're live streaming. I get that.
Play that MacGyver thing. I was really early today, and nobody was here, so I'm gonna play this thing again. A lot of the kids are doing really cool stuff on TikTok. I got a lot of hope for the future, man. I think a lot of the kids are crushing. And even though it sounds like they're a little effeminate, it's not that big of a deal. You don't have to be like a burly maniac. I'm not saying.
Did you hear that? Even though they're a little effeminate, it's not that big of a deal. What do you mean? It's not. It's not. My God. Is he? I'm sure I'm wrong. I hope I am. But is he like a homophobe or whatever? Or just LGBTQ phobe in general? I don't know, but he's giving me that vibe.
Men have to be like me, like a 6'8" bearded yelling lunatic.
Isn't he only 6'7"? I feel like he's 6 foot. I could be wrong.
Half the distance quadruples the lumens. Exactly. Okay. So now 204. There's a lot of smart people here. Just do the math, guys. This is why engineering is crumbling, because engineers had to take classes about why jet fuel melts steel beams. Engineers have to take classes about how we went to the moon. Just the equation of lumens, so it promotes people that are.
They took classes on us going to the moon? I don't think so. They may have covered it, but I don't believe that was part of any kind of engineering requirements that you take a class. Moon Landing 101.
They're so brain dead, or they accept lies, that they go, if it's that bright, like you can measure the lumens of a full moon. You can read a book under a full moon. There's lumens there, right? And so.
Yes, under the entirety of the moon. But if you're standing on it, you're not getting all of the moon's light. You're getting essentially none of it. You're getting the small surface that you can see in your vicinity. Like, what do you not comprehend about this? It's not the same thing. You're acting like we're standing on the moon, like it's the size of a big beach ball or something. That's not, no.
So that's allegedly 240,000 miles away.
Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. Why did he just say alleged? Is he a flat earther too? There's no way. This guy he's just lost it. I mean, wow. Like I said, I was never a huge fan of his, so I don't know much about him. I've just seen his stand-up before, and I enjoyed it back in the day. But I haven't. I didn't realize how far down this rabbit hole he's fell. Dang.
So if it quadruples with every half distance, how does that work? So this is why Texas has no power. This is why these places have no supply chains. Because the higher up you go in this satanic pyramid, and the more lies get spun and thrown out into the masses, the more the expert engineer has to believe that the only 4 times in human history that a steel frame building just collapsed in free fall speed was because of a fire, but with jet fuel. You understand?
Oh, he's talking. Okay, I'm an idiot. He's talking about 9/11 there, but the Satan. Man, you were like on all of them. This shouldn't be called Owen Benjamin shreds the moon landing. This should be called Owen Benjamin struggles to figure out what conspiracy theory he's talking about.
Understand how preposterous that is. And I don't care. 7-Eleven was a part-time job. I get it. Much love. Believe what you want. I'm not here to be that guy. I'm here to talk about tea. Green tea's great. Chamomile tea's great. But the reason engineers are...
What? Did anyone... Give me a second. Okay, I'm going to need someone to explain what I just listened to, because I actually went back and listened to it 2 more times. I don't understand. What is he talking about? I mean, I know I'm not smart. Like, I am an idiot. I fully admit that in every video, basically. But what is he talking about? Green tea and chamomile and 7-Eleven? At first, I was thinking he said 7-Eleven, he meant 9/11. He just misspoke. But then he said something about a part-time job, and then he went on green tea and chamomile tea, and my brain hurts. I don't understand what I just listened to.
Are just not effective anymore. My wife has her master's degree from USC in structural engineering. She had a whole class in how the buildings fell on 7-Eleven was a part-time job. Okay.
So maybe, okay, so that he is referring to that, but is he saying that to, like, protect himself? Or to not get, whatever, flagged or something? That's the only thing I could think. Because he said it twice. There's no way he misspoke twice. Anyway, so yeah, of course your wife would probably take a class on that, especially if she did her classes after 9/11. But that's expected. I mean, regardless of how they fell, and we're not going to get into that because I don't know. But it's still a fairly important and interesting engineering lesson, and one that happened in the States, and one that, where she got her master's would have covered and is not crazy to cover. None of this has to do with the moon landing being fake. He's really going off on a tangent.
Okay, it's never before been witnessed, ever, that a steel frame building falls like that. It's not possible to fall like that. Okay? Never. There's no other example of it in history. Building 7, without any plane just fell. Like it was a Jenga. Like it was just like, and not like part of it fell over and it was distorted and leaning tower, just top down, just full demolition, vaporization of matter.
So I wouldn't say no building has fallen like that. Well, okay. I guess, because if you think, like, that's kind of how they destroy buildings. That's how they fall, which I guess is where he's getting at, which, once again, I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know. Do I believe that it was an inside job? Look, as much as I do, I like to cover misinformation. there are certain things that are just beyond the scope of understanding for your average layperson, i.e., me. I am not, privy to any clandestine or state secrets. I am not an engineer. I am not an expert in physics or anything. So, I cannot talk on the point at all on how or why those buildings fell. I do believe that it is a bit odd, and there's more than enough reason to be suspicious. But to come out and claim one way or another is not only ignorant, it is also insulting to the people that died. Because regardless of why it happened, and people died. Now, it may have been due to some big bad terrorist boys or some big bad government boys. I don't know. Regardless, people died, and I'm not going to taint their memory with my ignorant opinion like Mr. Owen Benji here.
There's no example of that ever. And I don't care about that. Believe whatever you want. Whatever puts your little baby boomer head to bed, okay?
What is this deal with the baby boomer thing? I think, is this like are you not comfortable with how old you're getting? Is that it? I don't know. You keep attacking baby boomers. Are millennials okay? He's not a millennial, right? No, he'd be, what is that? Gen X, I think? He's in between boomers and millennials, but regardless, I don't get what his deal is. He's very, very upset with the baby boomers.
The engineers now have to be taught lies. And so then they're like, okay, let's keep the supply chains going. Let's design a windmill that doesn't freeze when it's 0 degrees. And they're like, okay, operating on nonsense thought, this is how you do it. And now Texas people have been without power, food, water for over a week. There's going to be a lot of death. A lot of death. There's already a lot of death. 300,000 lumen flashlight will burn your skin. Right. And on the surface of the moon, while these people are playing golf, it was probably, can someone do the math? Figure out how many lumens a full moon has. Then figure out that with using the distance, how many lumens it would be on the surface of the moon. What the brightness would be.
Yes, but then figure out how many on the surface, on that very small part of the moon you're on. That's what you're not comprehending here. Whoops.
And no, the physics doesn't change when you're dealing with the moon. That's another reason that the space thing is fake, is because light...
Wait, whoa. Wait, space? Like the entirety of space is fake now? This guy he's absolutely insane.
Is transferred in waves, right? Everybody knows you got gamma, radio waves, infrared waves, ultraviolet, visual light spectrum, right? Okay, and then some child, like the emperor with no clothes, says, then how does light travel through a vacuum? Because as we all know, children, like little children could figure this out. As we all know, space has no medium. What do you mean space has no medium? I thought it's a vacuum. Of course it's a vacuum. So why do you need a medium to have a wave? Because just like in water, the wave needs the water to ripple. That's how the energy transfers.
But that's not true with light. That's true with sound, which is why there's no sound. But light doesn't require that medium. And you can argue that space is a medium, kind of. But regardless, light doesn't require that. It's not physical matter. It's like I don't understand how you're this dumb.
And then they went, Oh, and at first, kill that kid. Second, develop particle theory. But if we say we said it's a wave, everyone can calculate that it's a wave. You do frequency, it's clearly a wave, crest, trough. It's also a particle. Why does it have to be a particle? Or else we're wrong. If it isn't also a particle, it means we're wrong. And one of the tenets of modern science is that we're not wrong, no matter what everybody says. This is how it all happens, guys.
No. Science tries to prove itself wrong. That's part of the scientific process. And once again, it's light. It's not sound. It's not pressure. It's a light wave.
This is why they believe in dark energy and dark matter.
No. They believe in that because there is obviously, all right, to be as simple as possible, there is stuff, and then there is stuff that should be there but isn't. So they call that essentially dark matter, or antimatter, if you will, the opposite of that. I'm not, like I said, not an expert, not good at explaining this, but no, that's not why. Getting frustrated.
It's because none of the calculations work based on their nonsense theory of gravity. So what they do, they say, well, 90% of the universe is dark matter. What does that mean? You can't see it. You can't calculate with it. You can't feel it, can't measure it, nothing. It's completely invisible. But so then how do you know it exists? Because without it, our equations would be wrong and gravity wouldn't be what we say it is. That's your only evidence for dark matter? Yes. Guys, I used to host a physics podcast at Caltech. I get it. I'm a wacky comedian and an addict, but I'm a very smart person. Dark matter was invented just to justify their equations when they were presented that they were wrong. Because communists, Satanists, all these people, their one tenet is no matter what, never admit fault. You can shoot a guy in the head.
No. None of that is true. This guy, like, he's just kind of getting depressing now. I mean, I believe that maybe he did used to host this podcast or whatever, which is cool, but still doesn't make you that smart. And even if you were that smart, I'm sorry, but you're not now. Like, what you believe is insane. Not all of it, I guess, but most of what I've heard.
And get it on video, and someone could go, look, you shot that guy. And they go, no, I didn't. And just never buckle. Look at Hillary Clinton. Look at all these people. You just never buckle. So how did your driver commit suicide with 4 bullets in the back of his head? He did. He committed suicide. Do you think that's possible? Yeah. And then you just...
Okay, but you're talking about something completely different than science here. You're getting a little ridiculous now, but okay.
Just wear the other person down. They go, no, you're lying. No, you're lying. Guys, it literally works. So particle theory, yeah, dark matter tea is great. It's awesome. Let's take it back. Dark matter tea. It's great. All right. So particle theory was created just because a vacuum can't have a wave in it. And these people are so dumb. They're literally dumb people. The fetishization of the elite.
Give me 1 second. Yeah, that's what I thought. No, he's an idiot. Particle theory, like, it's essentially just saying that everything's made out of particles that are at a constant state of motion. It has nothing to do with... listen, light travels through space. That's an undeniable fact. That it's not the same thing as sound or whatever other waves you're confusing it with. I'm so baffled by how unintelligent you seem to be, or I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping that's it. Otherwise, he's a massive liar, or he's just insane. He seems to believe what he's saying, though.
Quote unquote, the fake elite by the truth community is really exhausting. I don't listen to any of those people anymore that talk about, like, oh, the cabal, the elite, what are they planning? They're literally retarded. Paul from Pockets of the Future had a great stream about that. It was about the death of Dr. J's brother and son. And it's great. I highly recommend that. Listen to that. But it's like the people at the top of the pyramid are like retarded. They just know some basics about, like, never admit fault and just repetition. It's just training animals. That's all they're doing. And so when you have the divine spark and accept that you're not an animal, it doesn't work on you.
The divine spark and accept you're not an animal, huh? Well, that was it. I'm assuming that was a live stream because it ended kind of weird. And like I said, just the style of it. So the reason I watched that, well, for one, the moon landing thing. That's another one that I'm kind of passionate about. When people say it's fake, it's not. So, for anyone new to Owen's style, keep in mind he is a comedian, and I'm all about that. But where'd it go? Right here. On top of all that, he is using as much force of words as he can to smash the mental inertia created by decades of lies. He didn't do any of that at all. It was he just rambled and couldn't even stay on a topic. It started with the moon landing, and he ended with dark matter, and in between, he talked about everything from 9/11 to Satanist and the cabal and anyway, he's lost it. So that was interesting, at least. Yeah. Please like, comment, subscribe, and until next time.